What's up?
So, hey, I'm calling in to criticize you. I called in like a month or two ago, but I'm calling in to criticize you once again.
Okay.
So, you were on Tim Pool's podcast over the weekend. Now, you criticized.
I'm here to correct you. I'm here to correct you. I was not on Tim Pool's podcast over the weekend, but go ahead. Since we want to be factually,
it was last week.
Since we want to be factually accurate, you started off a statement by saying, and I'll let you finish, my friend.
I'm sorry.
Okay,
I'm sorry. Whatever.
It's okay.
Right.
Well, not whatever. I mean, you started off by saying
you criticized Cenk Uygur for talking with Charlie Kirk, right?
No, never criticized him for talking with Charlie Kirk. I don't know what you're talking about. I criticized.
Are you sure?
I need you to listen. See, the problem is, sir, you don't pay attention. So let me respond to that. What I criticized him for was not being tough enough on Charlie Kirk. I never criticized.
Okay, and did you criticize Tim Pool for being a Russian, paid by Russia, all that stuff?
Did I criticize Tim Pool for being paid by Russia
and all that stuff?
And all that stuff. So we talked about 20 different issues. Now, if you're calling into this show because you don't think I was tough enough on Tim Pool because I didn't bring up Russia.
I'm just giving you your logic right back to you. I love your show. I love you, Brian. But sometimes you disappoint me.
You have to establish the logic.
Hold on
first.
a second. Let me just respond to that because I think it's ridiculous. So first of all, we talked about actual issues when it came to Donald Trump governing and Republicans and relevant topics today. If this was a story that just came out a week ago, then I probably would have brought it up. If he brought it up, I would have gladly have a conversation with him. The criticism that I had for Cenk is that when he had Charlie Kirk on, same criticism I had for Gavin Newsom, right? When he had Charlie Kirk on, I thought they weren't tough enough on the issues. I'm not talking about personal stuff that you could bring up. I'm talking about policy disagreements. I'm talking about.
Well, I would say that you weren't tough enough on Tim Pool.
Okay, well, you can have that opinion. Give me another example. My job wasn't to go on his show to talk about personal issues or money that he got.
Just like Cenk Uygur's job wasn't to go on the show and criticize Charlie Kirk.
Wrong. The job of someone is to talk about policy issues. Why do you support Donald Trump? Why do you support this policy? What are your issues with Democrats? We talked about food stamps. We talked about health care. My job isn't to go on somebody else.
What's the difference between that and Cenk Uygur talking with Kirk?
Because he didn't talk about policy disagreements at length. He didn't talk about Donald Trump.
Yes, he did.
He did not. No, he did not. And by the way, Cenk has turned into basically a Trump supporter. I didn't think he was
talking about, what is that company? Black whatever, buying up all the houses. They were agreeing on all kinds of policies.
The reason why I've been tough on Cenk lately is because he has turned almost into a MAGA defender. That is why I've been very
critical. You're ridiculous. That's hilarious.
I'm ridiculous.
Brian. Come on.
Okay, so you don't think Cenk
That's the most funniest thing I've ever heard you say.
It's the most funniest thing I've ever heard you say. Well, thank you for your opinion, sir. But anybody with a reasonable brain that listens to Cenk on a regular basis would tell you that he has changed a lot over the last year or two. He has. He was one of the biggest.
I've been watching him every day along with you for the past year.
So he hasn't changed his views at all in the last. So he hasn't changed his views as far as Republicans go in the last 2 years, or Donald Trump.
No way, Jose.
Okay, well, I don't believe you. I don't think that
What's his issue?
Then? I don't believe you. I don't think.
How often do you watch the Young Turks?
I watch everything all the time. That's my job. This is what I do. I've debated people on that show.
Well, I don't see how you could possibly have this opinion on Cenk Uygur then.
Okay,
this is the guy that wanted us to call the Young Turks.
Yeah, I don't care what he says about.
And we told them if they want a debate for them to contact you.
Yeah, I don't really care. Yeah. I don't really care his opinion on that.
Or the Young Turks.
But so the guy calling into the show right now says he's very disappointed in me when it comes to Tim Pool, as I did his show, because I didn't bring up Russian money. And that's why you have a problem with me.
Which I'm not really. I'm just giving it back your logic.
So you're a phony then. So you just admitted that you called into the show.
No, hold
on. So you're not really upset, and it's not really a criticism that I didn't bring up. You just admitted it.
I'm giving you.
Hold on a second. Let me finish, sir, with respect, and then I'll let you respond.
Sure.
Thank you. You call into this show. And your criticism of me with Tim Pool, and by the way, I'm totally fine with criticism. I'm not an insecure person. But your criticism with me is that I wasn't hard enough on Tim Pool because I didn't bring up the Russian money stuff. And then 5 minutes later, you openly admit on this show, I'm not really upset at you over that. So you're a fraud and you're a phoney. You just you're a fraud. No, you're not. You're a fraud. You just admitted you're a fraud.
He just was giving you a bunch of opinions. He didn't really. It didn't
you're a
sound
fraud.
Like, it just was talking. He didn't sound like he made a point at all on anything. Actually.
And by the way, you would be the only person on the planet, sir, to say that Cenk hasn't changed his opinions a little bit. That Cenk hasn't been easier on MAGA Republicans. That Cenk hasn't given Trump a lot more credit over the last year or two. He's changed over the last year or so. I have people that I know that are on the left that have been very close friends with him that don't even talk to him anymore because of that. So you have, number one, absolutely no idea what you're talking about. Number two, you admitted that you said something. Your whole premise to the call was based on fraud. You admitted it. Am I wrong?
Said MAGA. Why doesn't he just say, I'm a MAGA and I wear the knee pads and I love to, and I'm calling
by the way
to troll you.
Can I say this?
That's what he did.
Thank you for listening to the show, sir. I disavow. You're not one of my fans. I disavow you.
He's committed to the Young Turks, whatever that means.
Yeah, go listen to the Young Turks and Alex Jones and those anti-Semites, because that's what they are.
It's always the Democrats that with blue hair and they're overweight that are always in everybody's city. Also,
okay, let's talk about that. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that. Hold on.
Just calling in, your number one caller voted by PTL the last 3 years running. So I wanted to check in on a couple things.
Okay.
One, like Bill Maher said, everything can't be for Democrats a total outrage and the end of democracy. I am actually shocked. You're a pretty compassionate guy. For you to advocate adult males going out and harassing a young girl on the golf course and holding up signs and berating her and belittling just a young girl golfer. It's just
no, it's not. No. It's not just It's not. Hold on. It's not just a young girl golfer. So don't you characterize it as a young. No. It's not. It's not. Why don't you listen now? It's not just a young girl golfer. It's somebody who is taking advantage of who her last name is and Donald Trump, profiting off of her grandfather being the president of the United States and taking a spot away from somebody that is far more deserving. I'm not saying break the law. Let me be very clear on that. Nothing I said was advocating breaking the law. I said, why don't you go to the LPGA event and hold up a sign that said your father is an adjudicated abuser? Why don't you hold up a sign that calls her a grifter? That is within your First Amendment. Excuse me. That is within your First Amendment right to do so. And why don't you admit? Yes, it is. Is it right for her to be playing in that tournament? Let's start there. Is that right, sir?
Yes,
it is.
I'll tell you what.
Okay, well then you're an imbecile. You're an imbecile.
Golf Magazine said the reason you have exemptions is to get star power to an outing that no one would normally watch. So now with her being there versus
not true.
You take some no-name golfer, you're going to add revenue. You're going to get more eyeballs.
So that's what it's about. Okay, so let me ask you a question. If that was the case, then why don't we just have Melania Trump playing in an LPGA event? If that's the case, why don't we just have? Okay, so as long as you're a golfer. Okay, so let me get this right. So long as you're a golfer, just a golfer, and you have hold on. So you got to let me finish the question.
All right.
So by your standard, so long as you're a quote unquote golfer and a big name, you're okay with any sponsor exemption. Is that what you're saying?
So, well, Tony Romo did it. Is he good? Is that good? He's
Tony, not. Excuse me. First of all, what PGA event did Tony Romo play in?
He plays in a lot of. He's played in.
Name me a PGA Tour event.
I don't know off the top of my head.
You know why? Because it's a celebrity tournament, dumbass. He didn't get a spot. You know, he didn't get a sponsor. Tony Romo didn't get a sponsor.
Just pod him down.
No, I'll pod you down. I'll pod you down. Why is it that you can't admit that Kaya Trump playing in this event is wrong? Do you think Donald Trump should be getting a sponsor's exemption to play in a PGA event? Name me the event. Name me the event. Name me the PGA. Hey, dummy, name me the PGA Tour event that Tony Romo got a sponsor's exemption to. What a shocker. You don't, because you have no idea what you're talking about. That's why. Why don't you admit that?
Would you say the PGA tournament is taking advantage of her?
Why don't you? Do you know that you don't even know? You don't even know the difference between a celebrity Pro-Am event and a PGA Tour sanctioned event. That's how stupid you are. So you have no idea what you're talking about. And by the way, the idea that the 78th ranked junior female amateur should get a sponsor's exemption, and you're totally okay with that because her last name is Donald Trump makes you an imbecile. Does that mean that Donald Trump should be playing in the Masters? Yes or no? He's a golfer. He's got star power. Should Donald Trump be getting exemptions into PGA Tour events?
You can't
yes or no?
arbitrarily pick any play. Of course not.
Okay, so Donald Trump can't. You just said on this show that as long as you have play golf. Wait, you just said no. I'm getting worked up because you're an imbecile and you don't know what you're talking about. You just said if you're a golfer and you have star power. So I want to know what your barometer is. How good of a golfer do you have to be?
So let me ask you this.
No, don't ask me anything. Answer my question first. Where is your barometer? If you're a golfer and you have star power, how good of a golfer should you be, sir? Should you be a professional or an amateur?
Well, you could be an amateur.
Okay, so why would Donald Trump? So why should Donald Trump not be invited to play in a PGA Tour event? Why should he not get his? By your standard, he's a golfer and he's got star power. So why do you say no to Donald Trump?
If a sponsor wants to say, listen, I'm going to spend my money and get you in a tournament, the tournament agrees, I guess that's okay.
Okay, so anybody,
but
as long as
of her. No one would watch this
Brad Pitt,
if it wasn't for her.
George Clooney plays golf. Should he get a sponsor's exemption to play in a PGA Tour event?
If a sponsor thought it was good for them, it's
okay. Well, you're an idiot.
It's not against the law.
You're an idiot.
Do that.
I never said it's against the law, but you're an imbecile. That's not how professional golf works.
Golf tournament's going to get more viewership now than if they had some random person.
You don't give somebody a sponsor's exemption for the only reason being it's going to draw people to a tournament. That's not why they do it.
That's why tournaments do it.
That's not the only reason. If it was, then they would give 50. Then why don't we just call it the celebrity tour then? It's called the Professional Golf Association. Do you not understand that? It's called the Professional Golf Association, and you have no idea what you're talking about. She's not even a professional. She's the 74th ranked amateur. That's not even close to being a professional.
You don't have to be a professional to be on tour.
You don't have to be a professional to be on tour. Okay, so what is your guideline then? The only guidelines that you've given me is that you play golf and you're star power. Give me. Are those your only guidelines? Because if they are, then that makes you an imbecile.
Well, you just
give me some other guidelines. I'm waiting. What should your handicap be?
Of course.
Listen, I understand you need to get a sponsor, but I'm asking you, what are the guidelines besides playing golf, whatever that means, and having star power? Okay? If Kai Trump was walking down the street on Las Vegas Boulevard and wasn't decked out in her stupid Trump memorabilia, nobody would recognize her. Maybe you would because you're a sicko fan Trump. Okay, so stop it with the star power crap, okay? I can't imagine that 1,000 tickets are going to be sold because some idiot named Kai Trump is playing in an LPGA event that probably won't even break 90. Okay, so stop it with the star power, and she's going to sell thousands of tickets, okay? She's not Caitlin Clark, okay, dummy? Nobody cares, all right? Maybe there's a couple psycho fans like you.
More people.
Oh, really? You think
with
thousands?
Blue hair going up there yelling at her.
Yeah, okay. What does blue hair have to do with anything? Why would you bring that up, sir?
It's always the Democrats that with blue hair and they're overweight that are always in everybody's city. Also,
okay, let's talk about that. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that. Hold on. It's always the people. Let's go with that statement, okay? It's always the people with blue hair that are overweight. Does Donald Trump have blue hair? Is Donald Trump overweight?
I would say so.
I would say so. Okay, so they're not always people with blue hair. Did anybody with blue hair storm the Capitol on January 6th? Because there were a lot of obese people that were there. Did anybody with blue hair storm the Capitol on January 6th and beat police officers with their own batons? Because you said it's always blue, people with blue hair. Were those people with blue hair? Answer my question. Were those people with blue hair on January 6th those who beat police officers with their own batons? Because you said it was always blue people with blue hair. Yes or no? Answer the question. Yes or no? Answer the question. Yes or no?
Trouble.
No, you're going to answer my question, but you have no idea what you're talking about. Were those people with blue hair on January 6th? Yes or no?
On that one particular day, no.
Yeah, you're right. On that one particular day, you're right, where we had at least 1,500 people that stormed the Capitol, half of them violent criminals, and hundreds of thousands of people. Let's ask you another question, sir. The No Kings rallies, where we had 10 million. Let me ask my question. Pod you down, sir, because you're not smarter than me. We had 10 million people plus at the No Kings rallies. Some of those people had blue hair. How many of those people committed crime, sir, out of those 10 million people? Can you tell me?
I would imagine there's been some.
No. You're imagine. You're imagining. No. I didn't ask you to imagine, dummy. I said, how many of those people, if you don't know the answer, don't imagine. Tell me you don't know. I know it's really hard to do that for you, sir. I'm going to ask it again. Since you said no. Stop talking. You had an opportunity to answer the question, and you responded by saying, "I would imagine." So I'm going to ask it again. You're not John Lennon, sir. Okay, you're not imagining anything. Okay, it's yes or no and a number. If you do know, because I would. You're the one who said people with blue hair always seem to blah 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 blah. Okay, of the 10 million people that were protesting during the No Kings protest a few weeks ago, how many of those people or people with blue hair were arrested for committing crimes? Can you answer that? If you don't know, I'll give you the answer.
100.
Wrong. The answer is 0. There were 22 people across the country that were arrested. Here's something for you, sir. Those 22 people probably look like you. They were middle-aged white Trump supporters. They were not people with blue hair. They were not liberals. They were not Democrats. There was nobody with blue hair that beat police officers with their own batons that stormed the Capitol. The guy didn't have blue hair that was a Trump supporter who went into a church a few weeks ago and executed people. It was a Trump supporter, a middle-aged, obese man that probably looks like you. So don't you give me this nonsense that all these people with blue hair. No, I'm not going to let you do anything. All these people. No, you're not going to tell me anything. You're going to listen, and I'm going to educate your sorry, stupid ass. Okay? These aren't people with blue hair. Yeah, you're an idiot. You're an idiot. I will pod you down. You're an idiot, and you don't know what you're talking about. The overwhelming majority of people that are committing these mass shootings all across the country are people that look like you, obese white people or younger white people. These are not people with blue hair. You have absolutely no idea what you're talking about. And you're damn right, and I stand by what I say. If there's 1,000 people, I guarantee you they won't even sell 1,000 tickets to see Kai Trump shoot a 95 on the golf course. You'd have to pay me to see that. That'd be torture. But guess what? If 1,000 people with blue hair go there with signs that say, Kai Trump, you're a DEI golfer, I would totally endorse that. What do you think about that, buddy?
That's horrible.
Oh, it's horrible. Was it horrible what happened on January 6th? Was that horrible?
Apples to oranges.
No. Answer my question. Was it horrible? Answer my question. Was it horrible what happened on January 6th? Yes or no?
Of course.
Then why did
Everybody knows.
Okay, so would you say it's just as horrible to be holding up a sign, your First Amendment right, saying, Kai, you're a DEI hire? Is that just as horrible? Or are there levels of horrible for you?
I mean,
answer the question. Is it just as horrible?
That's okay.
Is it just as horrible?
Actually.
Is it against the law? Answer the question.
No.
Okay, so you could think something is horrible. I tend to think it's more horrible when you beat police officers with their own batons. I tend to think it's more horrible when people break the law. I tend to think it's more horrible when you're an adjudicated abuser, which is Donald Trump. I don't think it's horrible.
Yeah, but I don't know advocating for older men to go harass a young
First of
girl.
all, I don't think that's harassment. It's your First Amendment right to hold up a sign. That's number one. You're not breaking the law. Number two,
you're not allowed to yell during backswing.
Okay.
That's against the rules of golf.
Yeah, it's against etiquette.
And you know that.
Excuse me. I do know that.
Get thrown out
Excuse me. I do know that. But guess what? Yelling on a backswing.
You'll get thrown out.
Excuse me. Yelling on a backswing is not against the law. It might be bad etiquette, but let's go with that for a moment. You don't like people that
get thrown out of the court.
Hey, you don't like people that show bad etiquette. You use the term horrible. Is that correct, sir?
Yes.
Okay. Do you think it's good etiquette to attack Gold Star families and people of color and saying, I don't respect John McCain because he was captured? Do you think it's good etiquette to sell Bibles? Do you think it's good? I'm not done yet. Let me finish. I never said it was against the law. By the way, Donald Trump is breaking the law right now as we speak. I can get into that if you'd like, sir. But, sir, you talked about etiquette, and it bothers you. If somebody on their backswing, somebody yells, then why would you vote for the guy who talks about grabbing women by the genitals if you care so much about etiquette? Please answer that question, sir.
Because
what's the matter? Right. You got a Joe Biden stutter, sir?
You're allowed to do it.
Sir,
so Trump said that, so now you're allowed to harass
there is excuse me, sir. There's a higher standard, I think, to somebody who is the president of the United States than somebody who goes to a golf course holding up a sign. So I will now ask you again.
But it's a young kid.
Sir? So you care about... Okay, so if you do something bad to a young kid, That's okay. So let's go with that for a moment.
If you punch a young 14-year-old, it's not.
Where did I condone punching a child?
I'm just giving you an example.
Okay, well, that's a really bad example because that's irrelevant to the conversation. So you think okay, I need you to listen. Calm down. I need you to listen. Calm down. You're very upset that I'm condoning someone that you would say is bad golf etiquette to scream on Kai Trump's backswing, which, by the way, I would totally endorse, and I'm totally comfortable with that. You're so upset at that, and you call it horrible, yet you decided to vote for the guy who talks about grabbing women by the genitals, who literally went into teenage girls' locker room pageant dressing rooms without their permission. But you have no problem voting for the leader of the free world, but you're going to hold your anger to some regular person on a golf course who uses their First Amendment right, or somebody that yells during a backswing. Sir, do you see where I'm going with this? You have zero credibility. Zero.
Well, now you said she's just a regular person. I thought it was a
hey, dummy, I'm talking about a regular person. No? I'm talking about a regular person who held up a sign. I know it's very difficult for you to follow a conversation. So let me repeat with what I said earlier. Kai Trump has no business being in that golf tournament. The only reason why she's playing there is because of her last name, not because of her abilities or because of anything she's done in her life other than selling her stupid Kai Trump gear. She's done nothing in her life that deserves her to be in that golf tournament. She's not even a good golfer. She probably won't even break 90, I guarantee you. And you have a problem with me saying that I hope somebody yells during her backswing because you want proper golf etiquette, yet you voted for the guy who claims he's won the club championship every single year. We've seen video of him cheating, but you don't have a problem with that. Or Donald Trump talking about grabbing women by the genitals, or Donald Trump going after Gold Star families or POWs, or calling brave men and women in uniform suckers and losers. But yet you want to preach to me about golf etiquette? Screw you. Screw you and your hypocritical BS. You're a moron, sir. That's what you are. What's the matter? Cat got your tongue? You got a Joe Biden stutter, sir?
I dozed off 5 minutes ago. You just keep going over and over. But yeah, so if Donald Trump says one thing, that means it's okay to do A plus B.
Did I just mention? First of all, did I just mention one thing? First of all, I did not mention one thing. Second of all, holding up a sign would not be considered by many as harassing. Harassing somebody is harassment is a crime. You don't seem to understand that. You see, harassment can be defined as a crime in every state in this country. Holding up a sign, which would
Brian, excuse me, you can't
is harassment.
The PGA
Is harassment a crime? Yes or no?
Harassment, yes. It can be a crime.
Thank you. We finally agree on something. Is holding up a sign harassment? Well, if you're at least 6 feet away from somebody, is holding up a sign harassment?
I guess it depends.
Yeah. It's not. Have a nice day, jackass. Lauren is next on PTL. Hello, Lauren. Hi, Lauren. Go ahead.
Yes. I heard Leonard ask, what do you call a person that wants children to starve?
I did.
Yeah. Okay. I think that person is a Democrat.
What?
Okay, but here's the so here's the thing.
There's been 14 votes.
Lauren, you have to understand though that I understand you want to have a talking point and you want a catchphrase, but you have to understand that the Republicans own the White House, the House of Representatives, the Senate, the Leonard, Supreme Court, the AOG,
Leonard,
the FBI.
You're right.
But it's the Dems. I would love for you to say, go ahead.
I'm sorry, Leonard, to interrupt you, but we could clear this.
I would love to hear this.
Lauren, how much money do we have? Lauren, I wanted to ask you a question. Lauren, who's in charge of releasing the $5 billion right now, emergency funds that could help put food on the table and keep some people?
All they would have to do is bring Sessions.
Lauren,
that's it.
Lauren, who's in charge of doing that? Republicans.
Well, actually, I mean, this is the first time I've heard of it.
Well, that means you're ill-informed. You're coming up with an opinion and calling into the show.
Well, actually, I'm not ill-informed.
So let me inform you and let me prove to everybody listening that, with respect, Lauren, that you're not informed. Let me explain. Right now, there is $5 billion in emergency funds that are put in place for these kinds of issues. This is an emergency. I think we would both agree on that. There are a lot of people, millions of people that are going to be taken off their coverage when it comes to food stamps. So let me just educate you on this, and then I want to get your opinion on it. Okay.
Educate me, Brian.
Okay. You just said you don't know what I'm talking about. You are being
I already
educated.
heard your explanation earlier.
So now you just admitted to me that you didn't know about this. That's called me educating you. So do you know what the definition of educating
you're
someone
not
is?
Educating
Okay,
me, Brian.
Lauren, let me. This is so stupid. We're getting into semantics now. Lauren, you're criticizing Democrats for food stamps, which is absurd. I'm gladly have that conversation with you, Lauren. I just explained to you that there is a, for lack of a better term, slush fund in DC right now, $5 billion for emergencies like this one. You just admitted that you didn't know. You just admitted that I informed you on this issue. That is called, and that is the definition of educating you on the issue. What part of that do you not understand, sir? Go ahead.
The point is,
you don't respond to what I just said. Did I educate you? Yes or no?
No. I mean, like I said, I heard it earlier.
Okay, so did I educate you on this issue? Yes or no?
No.
Okay, so something that you didn't know about this $5 billion sitting there, I informed you about it. Now you admitted that. Now I know about it, but somehow I didn't educate you on this issue, sir.
How much does it cost,
Lauren?
How much does it cost in 1 month to feed the people that are on food stamps?
I'll tell you,
much,
I don't know that, but I'll tell you, all the social programs are somewhere in the neighborhood of 400 million a month, something like that.
Okay, Lauren, what's in the big and beautiful bill when it comes to food stamps? What's in the big and beautiful bill? You blame Democrats. Answer my question.
I have yet to be able to ask my question.
Yeah, because you don't know what you're talking about, and you made a claim that's
Well,
not true.
Lauren,
I'm going to ask you. No, hold on,
Correct.
Lauren, I get to ask. It's my turn and it's my show. You're not going to talk over me, buddy, okay? I'll continue to educate you. Answer my question. You made a statement on this show to start. You didn't ask a question, so don't play victim. You made a statement that is not true. You didn't start the conversation by asking a question. So I'm responding to your statement. That's what we do here. You blame Democrats for the fact that food stamps are going to be off the table. What is in the big and beautiful bill? Are they adding money to food stamps? Do they want to put more into helping Americans? Or are they cutting food stamps? What is in the big and beautiful bill, since you want to blame Democrats? Tell me. Educate me, sir.
I imagine there's several cuts.
No, there are not.
One Democrat voted for that bill.
No, there are not several cuts. They are cutting over at least billions and billions, over $10 billion they are cutting from food stamps. So tell me again why you would blame Democrats for the fact that Republicans won't release this $5 billion slush fund right now, and the fact that in this big and beautiful bill, they're cutting billions and billions of dollars from food stamps. Come again and explain to me why you don't want to blame Republicans for any of this, but you want to blame Democrats. It's ridiculous.
Well, actually, it's not.
So tell me why.
Every senator that is a Republican has voted for a continuing resolution. It takes 60 votes. How many?
you know why
resolution wasn't even the subject?
How many Republican
The subject was
senators
who's
are
responsible. Let me ask you a question, Lauren. Let me just. I need to.
What do you mean? Hold on a second, Leonard. I want you to go right after me. You just said, "quote It doesn't matter who's responsible." The first words out of your mouth in this phone call was blaming Democrats. Make up your mind.
Lauren, can I ask you a quick question?
Let me just make one point. My point is this.
Yeah, make a point.
60 votes. It takes 60
I know.
votes
I heard
to
your
get a
point. It takes 60
continuing
votes.
resolution.
I know that. Go ahead, Leonard. Go ahead.
Let me ask you a question.
Hold on.
So,
go ahead, Leonard.
it's a simple question. Are you familiar with the Emergency Powers Act within the Constitution, and that the president and the Congress
what we're talking
can
about?
enact? I'm not done. Hold on. They can enact the General Welfare Clause and release that $5 billion if they wanted to on an emergency without even calling a session. Did you know that? But the Republicans have the power to do that, not the Democrats.
Did you not say, Leonard, yourself, that it's $400 billion a month?
I think it's
that?
It's 400 million.
Okay,
a month.
All right.
Yes.
So let me ask you a question, Leonard. Who can end the filibuster right now? Who's in charge? Who can do that?
Republicans. Ask me something else.
I was going to ask Leonard though, because I don't think he knows.
Well, Lauren.
Yeah. Or I'm
the
sorry,
Democrat.
Lauren. I'm sorry. Lauren. No, it's not the so I'm asking you. You don't even know how. You don't even know how this works. Who could end the filibuster
I
right
do
now?
know how it works,
So
Brian.
who can end the filibuster right now for a vote? Who can do that? Who can do it? Republicans or Democrats? God, you're so ignorant, Lauren. I'm trying to be respectful. You're so ignorant.
But you got to ask him, does he know what a filibuster is, maybe?
Do you even,
point is,
you're filibustering us. That's
you
what
were
you're
talking
doing.
about the 60
All right,
votes.
so let's review. Hold on. Lauren, I want to keep you on, okay? Let's review. Leonard, let's review. We're like the teacher. We're the educators, okay? Leonard,
We're trying. We're
Leonard
trying
and I
our
are the
best.
educators. So you started the conversation blaming Democrats for the fact that millions of Americans are going to be without food stamps November 1st. I responded to that by saying, are you aware with this $5 billion slush fund that's available for emergencies, you were completely ignorant and unaware. You admitted that. I educated you by explaining to you that Republicans can do this right now and use those funds right now. You put no responsibility on the Republicans there. You openly admitted to me that there are billions of dollars in cuts to food stamps, SNAP benefits in the big and beautiful bill. Even you knew that. You said several cuts. I don't even know what that means. No, billions of dollars of cuts that would leave many Americans without food on the table. So you've openly agreed, and I did educate you, that there are a number of things that Republicans are doing to try to take away food stamps from the American people. You talk about the 60 votes. You have absolutely no idea what you're talking about. The reason why we're in this shutdown, which clearly you're unaware, Lauren, is because Democrats are fighting for the American people. The blue states are fighting for the American people right now, trying to come up with ways to feed their constituents. Democrats want to make sure that there's enough money in there to keep people on food stamps, while Republicans right now, if they wanted to, end the filibuster, call for a vote, and right now they could literally have $5 billion available for people that could be losing their food stamps on the 1st.
And what about the emergency clause?
Do you not? Yeah, exactly.
For general welfare.
Exactly. Leonard's right. Leonard, do you not understand any of that stuff that I just said?
Lauren.
Can you at least, Lauren, I'm sorry. Why do I keep calling him Leonard? I'm sorry.
Because it's very close. It's very close.
Lauren, can you acknowledge anything that I just said?
I'm trying to acknowledge.
Okay.
This could be done very easily. There's been 14 attempts to try and get it to where they can go ahead
that's just
and
political
continue
theater. Okay, that was never going to pass.
Everything would go back into place.
Okay,
Nobody would have to go
that
without
hasn't
food.
happened.
Nobody would have to go without Medicaid.
Lauren, that is
It
not
would take
true. That is not
14
true.
Democrats,
Lauren,
which are refusing.
what you're
to
saying
negotiate.
is not true. When the big and beautiful,
True,
okay,
Brian.
I will.
Google
If you will listen, all you
have
have to do is listen for the next 10 seconds and stop talking.
I've already
stop
listened to
talking.
everything you said.
Calm down. God, you're just so annoying, Lauren. The big and beautiful bill, which you already admitted will have major cuts, even if they did get to that vote. You're so stupid you don't understand that the big and beautiful bill has major cuts to Medicaid and to SNAP benefits. So even if Democrats did what you wanted them to do, millions of Americans would still lose their food stamps. I'm trying to speak very slowly, and you clearly don't understand what me and Leonard are saying. Leonard and I are trying to educate you. So what that means, sir, is that on November 1st, Republicans right now on the snap of a finger could come up with $5 billion that is sitting there in D.C. to make sure the most vulnerable people don't lose their food stamps. If Democrats did what you wanted, I keep repeating myself, this guy, I still don't
Can I add something to that?
Let me just say one more thing. If Democrats got those votes that you wanted them to, and voted to 60, the big and beautiful bill would still cut the benefits for food stamps for millions of Americans. Leonard, he just doesn't understand.
December 31st.
Yeah.
A couple of months from now.
How does he not know this stuff?
Well, I was going to ask him, and I guess it just, we digressed or whatever, but I was going to ask him if he can name, because I can't think of a Democrat that ever said something to the tune of, oh, well, if those families can't afford the health insurance, I guess they're just going to have to die. Yeah. And we're going all the way back to Mitt Romney when he was debating with Obama. Do you remember the moment where the question was, a 34-year-old man can't afford health insurance, gets a terminal disease, and they said, I believe it was Mitt Romney said, well, they should have planned better like my family. I guess that guy's just going to have to die.
Can I just ask Lauren a question?
So what Dem has ever said that?
No, not one. And Lauren, just to end the conversation here, can you just thank me and Leonard for educating you? Can you just say thank you?
I think later when he calms down, he's going to be like, he's going to have an epiphany.
I'm perfectly fine.
Oh no, Leonard, can you thank us for educating you?
Lauren.
I mean, can we get a thank you from you? Is that fair? Lauren, I keep calling him Leonard. I'm sorry. Leonard, I apologize. Lauren, can we get a thank you?
Well, Brian, you should know me. I've called into your show for years.
I remember you. I remember
Lauren,
you.
that's completely.
But last time you made some good points. I don't know what happened this
Lauren,
time.
that's completely academic to what I'm asking you now. I'm trying to be very nice and respectful.
No,
Lauren,
that's impossible.
Okay,
You
Lauren,
used to be pretty
Lauren,
nice,
Lauren,
really not a very
can you give
nice
us?
person anymore.
Lauren, I'm not nice
Focus,
to idiots.
focus.
I'm not nice to idiots. I need you to focus, okay, Lauren? Would you like to say thank you for educating me? Can you say that?
No, Brian.
Okay, thank you, Lauren. Thank you, Lauren. Because you're impossible because you don't have
you
an
got
education.
a ton of really good information. Yeah, and I know I know you're being, a little satirical, but he did get a lot of information that he would have otherwise not had.
Lauren, you're a buffoon. Thank you. You're right. I'm not nice to people like you because you're a MAGA jackass.